The most powerful man in the world could not sleep. Armies waited on his word. A plague was killing his people. His own generals were plotting against him. And yet, alone in his tent on the cold, fog-bound edge of the empire, Marcus Aurelius reached not for wine, not for women, not for distraction, but for a small journal. He was not writing for you. He was not writing for history. He was writing to calm his own mind, the way a man might whisper to himself in the dark to keep from breaking. What you are about to hear are the private rules a Roman emperor used to stay sane while the world burned around him. 7 rules, 2,000 years old, written by a man who had every excuse to lose his mind, and refused to, and they work today better than anything your phone will ever sell you. Stay to the end, because the 7th rule is the one that makes all the others possible. Most of your anxiety comes from one mistake. You are trying to control things that were never yours to control. The traffic, the opinion of a stranger, the mood of your boss. You grip these things in your mind as if squeezing harder will bend them, and they never bend. They only wear you down. It's like clenching your fist around water. The tighter you hold, the faster it escapes. Marcus drew a hard line. There is what depends on you, and there is what does not. Your judgments, your effort, your character are yours. Everything else is borrowed, temporary, outside the gate. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Read that again. Not happiness, strength. The calm mind isn't the mind that controls the world. It's the mind that stops trying to. Think of the man who lies awake at 3 a.m. running an argument he already lost. He isn't in his bed. He's in a prison built entirely out of things he cannot touch. And the door was never locked. He simply forgot he could walk out. Marcus said it elsewhere, even more plainly. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. At any moment. That is the door he is pointing to. The action. Today, when something irritates you, ask one question. Is this mine to control? If the answer is no, drop it on the spot. Spend your energy only inside your own gate. The first minutes of your day decide the rest of it. Lose them and you spend the day reacting. Own them, and the day bends to you. Most men surrender those minutes before they're even awake. The hand reaches for the phone in the dark. And before their feet touch the floor, the outrage of strangers pours straight into a mind that has not yet had a single thought of its own. They wake up already losing. Marcus had a different ritual, one of preparation rather than comfort. He reminded himself, before he rose, exactly what kind of people he would meet that day. He wrote to himself, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil." This isn't pessimism. It's armor. He decided in advance not to be surprised, not to be wounded, not to be knocked off balance by other people's smallness. A man who expects the storm does not curse the rain. Picture the difference. One man opens his eyes and immediately scrolls, and by the time he showers he is already angry at a politician he'll never meet. Another sits on the edge of the bed for 60 seconds and names, calmly, what is coming. He meets the day as its author, not its victim. Marcus pushed it further. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work, as a human being. What do I have to complain of, if I'm going to do what I was born for? He was the emperor of Rome, and he had to talk himself out of bed too. The difference is he did it with purpose instead of a feed. The action. Tomorrow, before you touch your phone, take 60 seconds. Name the difficult moments likely coming. Decide now, in calm, how the best version of you will meet them. Preload your composure. 2 thieves rob you of peace. One is the past, replaying what you cannot change. The other is the future, rehearsing disasters that may never come. Between them stands a thin, bright line. This present moment. It's the only place you have ever actually lived. Marcus understood that the mind suffers far more in imagination than in reality. The The burden you carry is rarely this moment. It's this moment plus 1,000 imagined ones stacked on top of it. You are never asked to carry your whole life at once, only the hour you're in. He wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. And elsewhere, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. You do not need to solve your whole life right now. You need only meet this hour well. Then the next. Watch the man waiting on a medical result. He suffers the bad outcome 100 times before reality has spoken even once. If the bad news comes, he will have lived it twice. If the good news comes, he will have wasted all that fear on nothing." Marcus had a sharper version of this thought. Do not let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Do not try to picture everything bad that could possibly happen. Stick with the situation at hand and ask, why is this so unbearable? Why can't I endure it? You'll be embarrassed to answer, because this moment is almost always survivable. It's only the imagined pile-up that feels unbearable. The action. When your mind races ahead, plant it back with a single sentence. All I have to handle is right now. Cut the future loose. It will arrive on time without your worrying. Here is a rule that sounds impossible until you understand it. No one can truly harm you without your permission. A man insults you. Where is the harm? Not in his words. Words are just air. The harm only exists the moment you agree to feel diminished. The wound is not delivered to you. You assemble it yourself out of your own judgment. Marcus said it plainly. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. This is the inner citadel. The fortress no insult can storm because the gates open only from the inside, and you hold the keys. The man who has learned this becomes strangely untouchable. People sense it. They stop testing him because there is nothing to push against. Think of the snide remark in the meeting, the family member who knows exactly which old wound to press. Each one is an offer. Here, take this, carry it home, lose sleep over it. And most men accept without thinking. Marcus reminded himself how foolish this is. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it. The insult lasts a second. The resentment you build from it can last a decade. You are almost never harmed by what was done to you, only by how long you agree to keep doing it to yourself. The rock does not argue with the wave. It simply remains a rock, and the wave, after all its noise, becomes mist and falls away. The action. The next time someone tries to provoke you, do not defend. Simply notice. That is their opinion, not my wound. Refuse the harm at the door. Watch how it dissolves before it reaches you. The mind inflates everything. A small setback becomes a catastrophe. A bit of luxury becomes a status symbol. We dress reality in stories until we can no longer see the thing itself. Marcus had a discipline for this. He would take whatever impressed or frightened him and mentally strip it bare. Cut through the costume. See the raw fact underneath. He described expensive wine as nothing but fermented grapes. The roasted delicacy on the emperor's table he reduced to the dead body of a fish, a bird, a pig. Not to be morbid, to be free. A man who sees the thing plainly cannot be enslaved by it. He wrote, of each particular thing ask, what is it in itself? What is its nature? When you see things as they actually are, not as your fear or envy paints them, they lose their grip. The thing that terrified you is just a thing. Calm returns the moment illusion leaves. Look at how this works on the things that own modern men. The luxury car someone went into debt to feel worthy. Strip it down, and it's metal and rubber that loses half its value the day it's driven home. The promotion that consumed a man's marriage. Strip it down, and it's a slightly larger title, which his children will never remember. Marcus turned this same lens on praise itself. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Even the applause you crave is just air moving through other men's lungs. Why hand it the power to crush you next week? The action. Take one thing that is currently stressing you. Describe it in plain, literal terms, no drama, no story, just facts. Watch it shrink back to its real size. This rule sounds bleak. It's actually the most freeing of all. Marcus, ruler of the known world, constantly reminded himself how little any of it would matter. The empires, the arguments, the grudges, all of it swallowed by time. He wrote, "Think of the whole of existence of which you are a tiny part. Think of the whole of time, in which you have been assigned a brief, fleeting moment. And soon you will have forgotten the world, and soon the world will have forgotten you." Why is this calming? Because the thing you are so anxious about, the email, the slight, the comparison, is a speck inside a speck. When you zoom out far enough, the noise in your chest goes quiet. You are free to act well simply because acting well is right, not because the universe is keeping score. Marcus wrote it bluntly. Alexander the Great and his mule driver both died, and the same thing happened to both. The conqueror and the servant. The same dust, the same silence. Not to make life meaningless, to make it light. If even Alexander's empire is gone, then the slight you suffered on Tuesday weighs exactly nothing. The man who knows he is a brief flicker stops wasting it on grudges. He becomes calm, because what, against all of time, is really worth the storm. The action, when something feels enormous, widen the frame. Ask, will this matter in 100 years? In 10? Next week? Let the scale of time put your small storm in its place. Here is the rule that holds up all the others. The calm mind is not found on a beach, in a vacation, in some future when life finally settles down. It is found in one place, inside you. Men spend fortunes searching for peace by the sea, in the mountains. Marcus saw through it. The retreat you are looking for is always available, and it costs nothing. He wrote, "People look for retreats for themselves, in the country, by the sea, in the hills. But nowhere can a man find a more peaceful and untroubled retreat than in his own mind. So constantly give yourself this retreat, and renew yourself. Your mind is the one room no one can enter without your consent. No crisis, no crowd, no enemy can follow you in. The man who can step into that inner room at will, in the heat of an argument on the worst day of his life, cannot be broken. He always has somewhere to stand. This is the whole point of every rule before it. Once you can find that room, you carry your calm with you everywhere. Understand who was writing these words. Not a monk in a quiet abbey. A soldier in a war tent, with a failing body and a dying empire pressing on him every hour. If that man could find a peaceful retreat inside his own mind, then the excuse that your life is too loud for calm does not survive contact with him. The modern man has forgotten this room even exists. He fills every gap, the line, the red light, the moment before sleep, with a screen precisely so he never has to enter it. The Stoic builds that home, one silent evening at a time, until no storm outside can leave him without shelter. The action. Tonight, 10 minutes. No phone. No noise. Step into the inner room. Sit with your own mind and let it grow quiet. Practice the retreat now so it's there for you when you truly need it. So, 7 rules a Roman emperor used to keep a calm mind while ruling a burning world. Separate what is yours from what is not. Begin each morning before the world does. Confine yourself to the present. Choose not to be harmed. Strip every event down to what it is. Remember how small and brief all of this is. And retreat always into yourself. Notice, not one of these depends on your circumstances changing. Not one waits for the world to get quieter, the people to get kinder. They are all things you do inside. That is the secret the Stoics understood, and the reason their words still stand 2,000 years after the empires they served turned to dust. Peace was never out there. It was always a discipline, not a destination. Marcus never escaped his troubles. The war never ended in his lifetime. The plague never lifted. He simply refused to let any of it own the one thing that was truly his own mind. And so can you. If even one of these reached you, do one quiet thing for yourself. Subscribe and let this channel be a small daily reminder to build a mind that cannot be shaken. Practice the 7th tonight. 10 minutes. Just you and the inner room. And remember, the most powerful man in the world found his calm not in the empire, but in a quiet page no one was meant to read.